Evening, everybody. Boxing Asylum Nuthouse podcast. It's Steve here on the call with a select panel. We've just witnessed Anthony Joshua defeating Joseph Parker. Unanimous decision. It went to points in the end, even though a lot of people thought that it was going to be a knockout either way. Parker did a little bit better than some people expected. Ozzie Smith is with us, thankfully, to talk about the fight itself. So is Andy Patterson, Dave the Hater Lowback, and a very special guest. You haven't heard him for quite a while. But this is enough to get him out of retirement. When Eddie Hearn starts talking shit like this, the one and only Alex Morris returns. Alex, go on, unleash your microphone and let us have it.
I mean, where to start? I mean, Eddie Hearn just constantly fucks me off. I've fallen a bit out of love with this sport over the past year or so, just because of all the bullshit that we have to deal with in boxing. But, we've had a few good things. I'll start by talking about a few good things we've had the past year. The World Boxing Super Series has been excellent. But then we get Eddie Hearn bringing it back down to fucking reality with his fucking smug little cunty posh bastard face. Just damage control instantly out there. He fucked me off before the fight even began. He fucked me off after the fucking David Price fight when he tried to fucking wheel out Dillian White, to protect AJ from Povetkin, who looked, bang average as it was. But he wants to get White in there first for the fight, as if White is like this some fucking arbiter of who gets to fight AJ. AJ was fucking dreadful tonight, and he's in full damage control because he knows that his man tonight has lost his KO streak. He's lost his big appeal to the casuals. They'll be fucking seething that he didn't score a massive fucking KO over Joseph Parker, who everyone said was fucking bang average, and anyone who saw the Huey Fury fight, all fucking 10 people that bought YouTube pay-per-view of it, they all said, oh, he's fucking shit. Most people had Parker losing that, so they expected Femi to knock him out, but he didn't. He's bang average. He's proven to be bang average and one-dimensional, and Eddie Hearn is just in full meltdown over it, and so he should be. People should be fucking queuing up. He's scared shitless of Deontay Wilder, I think, and now that's why he banned him. He's scared of him, and yeah, I don't know what to say. I'm just, in a bit of a rage, to be honest. The whole fight pissed me. I mean, the ref as well. I mean, fuck me, I forgot about the ref. I mean, I called this. I said when they got the ref that they announced who this fucker was. They said that he I think a ref like one title fight 10 years ago or something.
One
stupid.
heavyweight title fight between Povetkin and Manuel Cha. It wasn't even a proper title fight.
Yeah, exactly. Some fucking bullshit fight. I knew this would happen. I knew they got him in. The amount of money they made on this fight, they could have got Tony Weeks in, Kenny Bayless, even fucking what's the guy with the freaky eyes?
Big Steve Willis could have come in.
Big Steve Willis, yeah, fucking even fucking Fat Terry O'Connor or Howard Foster would have done a better job than this cunt tonight, and he completely ruined the fight, completely ruined any opportunity that Parker had to work on the inside. And to be fair, I think Femi's a very good inside fighter. He's got a very sharp uppercut. He's very strong, but Parker had absolutely no opportunity to work on the inside tonight to show that he was actually a strong man himself. And I think he is very bulky, and he showed when he had the few moments he could get on the inside, he showed that he was actually quite useful there. But again, no opportunity to do it. No warnings to Femi for the constant elbows and bitching and whining. He bitched and whined because he got punched in the face, and then he said, "Oh, I've got a bit of tag caught on my glove," when he wanted a breather. It's like he was in control of the fight. It's just fucking lunacy. The whole thing's fucking fast, and I hate it. Boxing's shit. Eddie Hearn's a cunt.
Alex is back, everybody. Stay on Alex for as long as you want. We did mention the referee last week. We did think that it could possibly be an issue. I will give Joshua his credit, I suppose. You have to. He got the job done. But one-dimensional Aussie is a word that, or two words actually, that Alex used, and I would agree with that. He did look one-dimensional. He has beaten the WBO champion. He has all the belts except for the WBC one. One of the points I raised last week with Donnie was I said that Parker looked like a small heavyweight, and the way Joshua was commanding centre ring and getting the jab going and whipping the left hook in, I think Parker did have trouble with Joshua's size at times, trying to get inside. He was getting pushed back. The ring looked small. So the size was a factor, as we suspected.
I would agree with that, but at the same time, I thought Parker's jab negated a lot of what Joshua could do. I didn't think we saw a particularly offensive performance from Joshua tonight. I thought he struggled at times and he couldn't really get the right hand off. I was impressed by Parker. I thought he negated the uppercut extremely well, and all in all, whilst the size was a factor, I was really impressed by Parker's performance. None so Joshua. I thought he was. It's a harsh word, but at times probably exposed. He went back in straight lines. If he does that against Deontay Wilder, it'll be lights out. Like I said, Parker's jab was excellent. It was on point, and I thought both jabs were decent, to be honest. And whilst it wasn't a thriller in terms of, like the Klitschko one where both fighters hit the deck and things like that, I actually quite enjoyed it because it was a bit of a it was a boxing match. It wasn't just two sluggers or anything like that, and it showed a different side to Joshua. Parker showed that he's much better than what the performances he's put in his past two defences against Fury and that other cowboy from, where was he from? Romania or something like that.
Oh, Kajanu.
Yeah, something like, because he was garbage in that. And I think you're probably going to ask it, but 3 appalling scorecards. Truly abysmal.
Ozzy, let me just quick you off there. Let me tell you, Ozzy, about the New Zealand judge. Now, I know a lot of people, when they see like, the New Zealand judge, this could be dodgy, he could give the score to Parker. But I often think these days they go the other way. They actually think, I don't want to be seen as being biased here. And then you see a scorecard like he put in where he's trying to overcompensate for the fact that he's also from the same country as Parker.
Yeah, I don't understand it. The 3 guys at ringside saw the fight completely different to a hell of a lot of media outlets, both online, radio, television, things like that. Completely different. To say that Joseph Parker only won 1 round in that fight is a disgrace, an utter disgrace. And it's disrespectful as well because Parker did not come here to sit on his back at all. I think, did Carlos Takam technically win more rounds than Joseph Parker did on the cards?
I believe so.
I can't remember, which is a travesty, an utter travesty. And for the performance that Parker put in, to say he only won 1 round is a joke. And if it was, for example, say if it was the other way around and Parker got the result, like just switching it, there would be uproar, utter uproar. The rematch would be done already. It would be a disgrace. And the officials, once again, as a team, have overshadowed a fight. The referee ruined it. I genuinely think he was picked because of his size. What was he? He must have been 6 foot plus.
Yeah, he's a big lad.
Yeah, but it kept being mentioned on the commentary. I watched the Showtime feed about you need a big referee to get in between these heavyweights. And you think, well, why else has he been picked? Because his experience is pretty limited. And then you think, well, he's a big bloke and he can get in the way, but he just ruined it. It reminded me of Joe Cortez in a way, where for the Hatton Mayweather fight, just ruining anytime they got close. So like it got on the inside, right? Break, or stepping in and things like that. And I think in one of the bits, I think Joshua took his own time out, didn't he? When there was a bit of tape hanging off, the referee didn't call it, and Joshua just walked off to his corner. And you think there's no control there, And again, I enjoyed the fight. I didn't think it was a bore fest like a lot of people did, but they only want to see the big knockouts. But for me, the officials ruined it. And if you're looking at it on paper, you'd think Parker put in an absolute no-mark performance, and that simply isn't the case.
Just picking up on little things through the fight that I noticed, Andy. I hadn't really noticed this before, but for such a novice as Joshua calls himself, only 20 fights and whatever, he's learned a few of the dark arts. I believe that the cut of Parker's left eye came from an elbow. The elbow was coming in all night, the shoulder as well. He was grabbing, the back of the head. He was pulling him down. I'm not saying it was anything more than gamesmanship at times. He was doing what he needed to do, but he wasn't half throwing that elbow, and he's a sneaky fighter, is Joshua.
Aye, dark arts, mate. You got to do it sometimes, especially when you're in close. He was looking for the referee for some help sometimes the head clash and all that sort of shit. But a wee bit like Alex, I'm a wee bit kind of rage mode as well. I was watching a completely different fight compared to Carl Froch tonight. I wish I had actually put the Showtime feed on rather than listening to Sky. Pure propaganda by Sky. Wilder's got to be watching that tonight, saying to himself, he's closing in possibly to be the number 1 heavyweight on the planet, right? And there you've got Eddie Hearn, the cunt of all cunts, mocking his lack of profile, right? That is an absolute embarrassment. And to say that the guy doesn't want to fight with a straight face, with a smug, condescending fucking look on his face, says it all. Wilder wants to fight. I guarantee it. Now, I've said before, I've never been a Wilder supporter. I've always slated him. I'm not a big fan of Femi because I say he's false. But let me tell you something. Wilder wants that fight. And they say that he didn't want to travel to America, Joshua. Is that because, what, you can't get a visa? Because you've been done for drug dealing and stuff? Is that the reason why you can't go to America? You're going to go where the biggest penny is. That referee, I don't think we'll see him refereeing our fight again, actually. An absolute fucking abysmal performance by him. Let the guys fight. I mean, what was it? The 5th round? Parker chased him over the ring. He got him up against the ropes, started to unload, and then he breaks him up. Any other time they came in close, they broke it up. If he landed shots when they clinched, they got warned. If the heads went in, they got warned. It was like Parker's best chance in it was to work the body, get in close. That was nullified straight away by the referee. Now, I'm not saying there was some sort of corruption going on there, but this is boxing at the end of the day, right? There's a lot of money riding on this, right? A lot of money riding on Joshua, a lot of money going on top of him. The networks are all involved, American TV. But let's just no fucking beat about the bush here. People say he's this global superstar. I know for a fact I've got a mate in Las Vegas right now who says this fight hasn't been shown in any of the casinos, any of the hotels, and there's zero fucking publicity. So what the fuck's that fight going to be happening in America for if he's got no fucking profile? As for the fight itself, scorecards were absolutely horrible. I had it slightly close. I did have Femi winning the fight. I had it 115, 113 to Joshua. 118, 110, 119, 109, I think it was. That's just abysmal. I mean, it's to actually, and to say, there's Hearn, for example, sitting ringside saying that he'd only given Parker 2 rounds. Did he actually know what they were going to be scoring that fight? Because at the end of the fucking day, the guy had no chance. He could turn up with an AK-47, a fucking RPG, and some grenades and still win the fucking fight. We saw what happened with Klitschko. He was getting jobbed in the cards for that fight, went the distance, and that was with Joshua getting dropped in his arse. As I says, Femi, he wasn't great, right? Done what he had today. He was dirty at times. His sheer size, I did think he was going to walk through him at some point. I've said it before that he was going to step up there and knock him out. Never done it. Parker showed a good chin from time to time. He did take a few shots, especially inside with that right uppercut and stuff. A few right hands, a couple of left hooks and stuff, but it just wasn't that at all. I mean, I think we've said it for long enough now that Joshua's, I suppose, a wee bit like Khan. He's got that vulnerability about him, which might make him exciting. But I just think, again, Wilder Joshua needs to be made because it doesn't need any of this fucking about. We need to have this fight happen right now, next, because we didn't want to have mandatory defences getting stacked up here. Povetkin's up next. He's got the IBF going to be coming up shortly as well at some point. We need to have these two guys. Shut the fuck up, you. Right? We need to have these two guys.
It's the post-fight pod, Andy.
We need to have these two guys fight next. Right?
It's not going to happen, though, is it? It's not.
No, it's not going to happen, but it needs to happen next because simple fact is this: one of them's going to risk getting defeated. We could have Wilder break his hands again or come off a motorcycle. Femi might catch AIDS or something like that in Africa, fucking help him kissing babies or something like that. I don't fucking know, but this fight needs to happen next.
Convert to the Nation of Islam, mate. Convert to the nation. That's what's going to happen.
Fuck your Jeremiah Millers, fuck your Povetkins, and fuck Dillian White. Get Deontay Wilder in the ring next. I don't give a fuck where it is. Get the fight made next.
What about Donny Baseball, Andy? Fuck him too.
I think the barrels at McAllen's must have run dry.
Old Pulteney.
The big fight's been get the big guns, Donny. But just before I come to you, Dave the Hater Low back. He's sitting. He's got his trousers down. He's ready, lad in hand. Come on, Dave, hit us.
Believe in what George said. I'll just say this: the referee ought to be pistol whipped for allowing.
Oh my God! Isn't that the case?
Yes,
That's
fucking Giuseppe Quarterone, garbage.
I mean, well, you know what? Fourth title fight. I mean, that says it all. I mean, what in a fight of this magnitude? What are you doing? What business does he even have there? I mean, that's outrageous.
You could just say he was incompetent, but his incompetence consistently looked to be favoring AJ.
I mean,
Constantly.
look, they weren't exactly it wasn't exactly a high action fight. But the few moments of fleeting action that we had were absolutely spoiled by that referee to the point that it just made it it was more of a dance contest than it was a fucking fight.
Patrick Basingo on YouTube, go fucking step in front of a train, you wanker.
Dave, if assuming that the teams have looked at the referee and both approved him, if Eddie's looking at this guy, Dave, and saying that's his style, we like this guy, he lets them, he doesn't let them fight on the inside, he's a bit fussy, then Parker's team would have also took a look at him as well. If he's made to order, maybe they should have had a word.
They should have. Who knows? I mean, I don't really know. I can't really say what goes on behind the scenes as far as selecting the ref. You have to think AJ definitely has the edge in bargaining power here, though. I mean, they did it in his backyard. The judges gave out of 36 rounds on all 3 cards that they could have possibly given Parker, they gave him 5. To have 2 cards 119, 1 card 118, they each gave him 1 round, and the most gave him 2 rounds is absurd.
This isn't us being wise after the event, though, Dave. Sorry, I'll interrupt you for the final time. I do apologise. This isn't us being wise after the event, because I brought up the referee last week for a reason, and I was concerned about his appointment.
Yeah, but I'm not so sure it was just his inexperience that made him look bad. Like, I mean, any cunt ought to be able to just, like Andy said, watch some YouTube, watch Joe Cortez's Firm But Fair DVD series on how to ref properly. Actually, don't, because Cortez kind of sucked. But dude, I mean, that was awful. I mean, and it was one-sidedly awful, because there was a moment when AJ pounded Parker to the back of the head, and he lectured Parker for it. He lectured Parker every time he hit him, basically. Every time he got inside.
It was, I mean, first of all, by the way, I just realized that we were live about 2 seconds ago. I thought we were just shooting the shit before the podcast actually started. But
you were going to go on about Jewish conspiracy and everything, weren't you?
Yeah, I was going to let it all out. No, but anyways, no, I mean, what really gets me though is like, I mean, it was like they had 2 hands. It wasn't even sometimes, like the referee isn't supposed to break him if they have 1 hand free. In some cases, the guys had 2 hands free. Okay, and he still stepped in and broke them. It was unreal, and I mean, it was almost as if he was trying every time there was action in there. It was almost as if the referee was stepping in, as if to say, "Oh, geez, you might hurt him.
Hey,
please
Donnie,
stop that now." Like somebody could get hurt if you're not careful. It's like
some
it's a
cunt.
heavyweight fight. That's the point. People are supposed to get hurt. Will you please get the F out of the way?
No, this is far too violent for me. It's boxing.
According to Fat Apple's the casual on YouTube, by the way, he says that Parker kept going in with the head, kept rushing and the headbutting AJ, and the referee didn't fuck all about it.
That's whoever said that should be shot in the testicles.
Go and ban him for the YouTube chat, Steve. He's a fucking mong.
And who was the one who ended up with a cut eye from Dirty Tactics? It was Parker,
right,
not AJ. By the way,
what I'm still trying to figure out though was why. I mean, Parker is not reputed to be a particularly heavy puncher. Joshua showed him what seemed to me, at least, to be tremendous respect. That was surprise number 1. Surprise number 2 was that if you noticed all night long, Parker was actually circling in the direction of AJ's power hand, his right hand, right? He was circling in the direction of that all night long. And, you would think that AJ could have set him up for a huge power shot or whatever. But despite having circled towards AJ's power hand the whole night, he seemingly never was able to detonate that shot, which I thought
AJ's afraid of gassing, Donnie. That's what I think. That's why he won't let it all hang out.
Yeah, that's the only explanation. But I mean, and that makes sense because he's had that problem before. But I mean, I thankfully though, I mean, when this Wilder fight does happen, and we all hope it happens next, like Andy was saying, but I mean, one thing I do know is at least that will give us the fireworks that this fight didn't provide, because Wilder does bring it. I mean, he does, and he takes risks in there, and he'll cause AJ to open up. What pissed me off most about Parker was that he actually acquitted himself pretty well. Like, I mean, he was able to survive in there, and he, at times did land a few things here and there, but really, if you're showing up in Wales, you have to assume that, you're not going to get the benefit of the doubt in these close rounds. And you think his corner would have tried to spur him on and say, you know what? I mean, okay, you're in a close fight. You're fighting okay, but I mean, you're going to have to go out and take this. You're on the other guy's turf, but no one ever gave him that sort of spur from the heel of the boot in his ass and said, hey, go.
I agree with you, because you see against like Takam, for example, he stepped it up when he was hurt or when he was tired or when he had to actually step in. He never really done it, especially late in the fight when he maybe knew he could have been losing the fight. I mean, there was 0 point him turning up the other night with these scorecards. 0 fucking point turning up for that fight.
Yeah, I mean, I agree 100%. I mean, if you're not going to go out there, I mean, all right, I understand you're feeling him out at first, but then he did have, I mean, it wasn't like a lot, but there were spots where he did have a little bit of success. He landed some work to the body, although the referee broke it up a lot every time they got in close. And he did land a few counter right hands in there. But I mean, okay, once the later rounds, I mean, he needed to also, if you're in there with a guy like Joshua, who is reputed to have stamina problems at times, he has shown the sense that he gasses a little bit in fights. You got to push the pace, and he let Joshua just waltz around the ring in there. I mean, it didn't even look like the fucking bastard even broke a sweat. I mean, how are you going to win a fight that way? I mean, he had the
Who, Parker? You're talking about Parker?
Yeah, in other words,
he was tired. He was tiring, was it, Donny? And he knew he was tiring. He's tired against Takam. He's tired in the past. He tired against Ruiz.
Neither one of them looked like they broke a sweat, Steve. To me, I think that Parker,
they were both knackered, man. They're both the gas tanks ain't what they used to be. Donny back in the days of Riddick Bowe and Evander Holyfield in those times. They were knackered, man.
But steroids were far better back then, though, mate.
Yeah, they needed
to get away with it back then.
Wind. Right, let me bring to Dave Lowe back in because I don't think he's finished having his say. Dave, at the end of the day, we're moaning about the referee, we're moaning about the judges. Everybody at ringside, Eddie, we all say, they're on the payroll, they had it wide. The judges are on the payroll, they had it wide. Are we just bitter, Dave? Is that the case? We're just bitter because at the end of the day, we all wanted AJ to get flattened and it didn't happen?
Well, I can't speak for everybody, but I'm fucking bitter. And I think also I don't want to take all my complaints off of Parker because it was his fault too. That you guys are right. He didn't show the intensity. I think he was discouraged by the refs' antics though, because I think that was his game plan. You have to see he stayed outside far, and this is what I said leading up to the fight as well. This is how he's going to tire Joshua out. He'll stay outside, but then get in the inside is where he tires him out because that's where he works the body. But he can't be like leave any space between them on the inside because Joshua was really good there. Joshua has that great uppercut. Just like 6 inches, 7 inches, 8 inches, like that space, that gives Joshua the space he needs to get that uppercut off. And Parker needed to close that. And when he did, the referee said no. So that I assume that kind of ruined his game plan, at least as far as tiring Joshua out, because from then on, he basically tried to get everything done on the outside and his offense from there. While he got some home, got a decent 1-2 in, got his jabs in, it wasn't nearly enough to do any damage and not even win the fight, in my opinion. I had AJ winning 7-5. And also, I think your criticisms of the corner are accurate as well. I think that Parker was discouraged by whatever his corner was telling him because he didn't even show much outrage at the ridiculous scorecards. Just said he got kind of morosely said after the fight, I got beat by the better man. I'll be back stronger. I'll train harder.
Do anymore, Dave. I don't care what the corners say. I think Kevin Barry's a good coach and he's a former fighter and they were telling him the right things to do, just like they were telling the right things to do against Hughie Fury. He couldn't execute. He hasn't got the stamina or the ability to execute the game plan.
Well, neither does Joshua, apparently. That was awful. I was very much expecting to hear him say, I hurt my right hand in training camp, because just something to explain that performance. But then when the judges give you 119, 118, you don't really need to explain away a crappy performance because it'll just be kind of brushed under the rug. Well, he dominated. He went the distance, but he dominated. When I really did not see that at all. I don't think it was a dominating performance.
Wait until Usyk moves up, by the way. Oh, Lordy! Usyk's going to tax that ass. He's going to school them. He's going to box them all. Fucking Joshua's going to be running out of ideas when he faces that.
Well, he will be able to work him, that's for certain. I don't know about the rest, but he will be able to work him at a pace.
Can't wait.
The guy that dominated tonight was Eddie Hearn, and all the money that he banked. I mean, he's that was one hell of a good payday for if you're Matchroom. I mean, 80,000 people. God knows what the pay-per-view is.
Well, that's why he's so fucking smug about it.
I mean, and I was with somebody watching this fight. It was my aunt's boyfriend or whatever, and I mean, because we're all together for Easter, and he's not a boxing fan, and I'm like, don't worry, this fight's gonna be good because I showed him the Joshua Klitschko fight, and I'm like, yo man, no, this is gonna be good, and like, I mean, it was such a dud,
Oh, they need to chuck you out of the family. You're a disgrace.
Yeah, man, but yeah, so I think there are a lot of people tonight that thought they were going to get a show and got instead a huge fucking dud, and it's unfortunate, and I feel terrible for those people that paid to sit at ringside for this or paid to be
fuck them.
No, it was worth it. It was worth it.
All right, fuck them. But I'm just saying, but they really got ripped off pretty good tonight. That was a terrible fight. That's really. I mean, I really like. I turned off the TV feeling angry at the end of this thing. That I spent my time watching it. It was really upsetting.
Well, that's interesting, Donny. You feel upset watching that. Then at the same time, some people weren't even impressed or says that they he took the Takam fight on late notice, right? I forget who was meant to be fighting at that time, but was it Povetkin? No, it was Pulev. It was Pulev. That's who it was.
He's fighting Brazil now, I think, isn't he?
Aye, a lot of people were saying, he wasn't impressive against Takam. Wasn't impressive again the other night. He's basic.
Yeah, if he fought Pulev, he'd look shit as well, guaranteed.
Yeah, he keeps getting the wins though, Alex.
Oh yeah, of course he will. He's not going to get a loss though. That's the thing. We've shown that. Well, it's been proven that the scorecards are fucking atrociously in his favor. Look at the Vlad fight. He was way up on the cards on that. Despite, I mean, you know, you can call it irrelevant as much as you want, but Vlad was pissing that fight for me. You know, apart from the knockdowns, he was pissing that fight. You know, I thought the Takam fight was very close. I thought tonight was very close. Yeah, AJ certainly won tonight. I'm not saying that it was a travesty or a robbery, but he...
What about Wilder fight? How would that go, Alex? What about Wilder? Hold on, Donny. Hold on. Let Alex... What about Wilder?
Oh, hey, Alex. What's up, man?
How's it going?
Oh, Jesus.
Holy shit. Oh, I'm so glad you're...
Shut the fuck up, you. Let me speak.
Yeah, up yours, you cunt.
I mean, like Andy said earlier, I've never been a big fan of Wilder. I've always, you know, when I was back on this part ages ago, I've always slagged him off. I thought he was, you know, overhyped and all he's got is his power. And I think a lot of that's the same. But what he's shown me, especially in the Ortiz fight, because I thought Ortiz was going to wipe him out. And, you know, it was very close. He nearly did. You know, Ortiz was certainly bossing the fight and dominating that fight. But then Wilder just wings in that fucking right hand. That's his fucking... It's the power of God in that hand. It's absolutely insane how he manages to just bring that out. And I think that he's got incredible heart and incredible stamina as well. Quite
he's so unorthodox as well, isn't he? You just don't know what's coming next.
The range on him and the movement. I think the conditioning and like you say, the just untraditional way he fights will really offset Femi now. I think that again his chin is very suspect as well. I think that obviously it's a shootout that, you know, we know that Femi hits hard and he could bang him out in a round. He could bang him out in any round. But I think that he would be quite cautious. And I think that if in a tear-up, he would certainly fire back. And I think that he wouldn't quit. He wouldn't get tired. And I think, you know, I've certainly thought that, you know, in the past, I've also thought, yeah, Femi's going to destroy him. But now you've got to really consider it that he is the biggest threat to him now. You know, I mean, unless you still think Ortiz is still in the game or Povetkin's still got it, you know,
Tyson Fury.
Yes, thank you.
Fury, you know, I've always said I think if the Fury that would beat Vlad faced AJ, he'd school him easy. But because he's ballooned up to, you know, fucking Tony Soprano.
He's a myth at the moment. When he needs to get his license back.
He's in great shape just now. He's in great shape. And funny enough, actually, Femi did mention his name after the fight tonight. And if there's going to be any fighter out there between, if you leave Wilder, as I agree with people are saying, Wilder's really unorthodox. He's got the right hand. He really could cause Joshua severe problems. But if there's anybody on this fucking planet Earth right now that can defeat anybody in the heavyweight division, it's Tyson Fury. The big man, he's in shape. Whether he's in fighting shape, I don't know. But he needs to be in the ring by, say, the summertime to see where he's at, and then by the end of the year, try and get some sort of big fight. Now, I mean, as I say, I don't want to go back to Ali, but you look who Ali fought when he came back after the 3-year exile, right? He fought, was it Foley? No, it wasn't Foley. It was the big Argentinian guy. Is it, what's his fucking name? Oscar Benavena. Oscar Benavena. There was somebody else, Jerry Quarry, I think it was, and he went right in with Joe Frazier, all within 6 months of coming back after a 3-year hiatus.
And then Foreman.
Fury could do the fucking same. No fucking problem.
Ozzy, tell me about Wilder fight. I've changed my mind. I thought Joshua would knock Wilder out. I really did. But I think once Wilder drags you into that corridor of uncertainty, anything goes. And we've seen that AJ doesn't like it up him, for want of a better expression, Ozzy. You know, once you ruffle him up a bit, you get inside, you grab hold of him, you take him out of a space of certainty and comfort. He starts complaining to the ref. He just doesn't like it. You know, thrown into him.
Yeah,
They'll just get some other shitty corrupt ref back there who will let Joshua call his own timeout.
yeah. I think we saw that tonight at times of that when Parker did put him on him and he was complaining to the referee. I mean, we saw it at Takam, and Takam did clearly nut him bang on the nose, but it caused him a lot of problems. And when it's not necessarily going for him, he does look to go to the referee. When he's knackered, we've seen previously, he looks to egg fighters on, like, come at me, because basically he's gassed. Now, we didn't see that tonight, but yeah, he did complain, and I think Wilder would be unorthodox. The power in the right hand is key, because if he can land it, it is light. So Parker did land at times tonight, but at the same time, I do think Wilder is vulnerable in this. I don't think it will be a walkover. And I think Wilder has shown that he was hurt against Ortiz.
Yes.
And if that was Joshua, could he finish him off? Definitely. But at the same time, Wilder has got the power, and his unorthodox ability is going to be difficult for anybody. And it's the only fight we should see next. It's simple as. There's nothing stopping it. Absolutely nothing. They've got Joshua he's massive, absolutely huge. 80,000 people there tonight. They can pay whatever purse they want. It'll be for all the belts. What else do they need? We don't need this building of a profile or anything like that. You could put a pig in with Anthony Joshua and people will buy it, and people will go and watch it because he is that big and that popular. And the Wilder fight has to happen next. And it's a great fight, and we don't need to see it in 2019 or anything like that. It has to happen next. There's no two ways about it. The governing bodies won't stop it if they can see it, because it's just more money for them.
I mean, last week I was a little skeptical. I didn't think it would happen. I still kind of don't, but I mean, he did say, I want Wilder next, so that you have to be optimistic about that if he says that to 80,000 fans. But
what were the Showtime commentary team like tonight, Donny?
well, highly critical of the ref, as we all were.
What was their overriding feelings afterwards?
Just that, I mean, it was not exactly an inspiring performance, but he got the job done, I think, would be the general thing. And they basically tried to act as if what we had just saw didn't happen, and started hyping up the Wilder fight, which, if you haven't produced fireworks, then you have to promise them that they'll get it next time. So, Ozzy's right. I do hope it happens next. The only thing is though, can it? Because if they're going to make it a stadium fight, do they have time?
You trying to dig your way out of a tunnel, Donny?
Oh, no. Sorry, I'm just outside.
The problem we're going to have with this Wilder fight, I mean, there's Hearn claimed it took a month to get the Parker fight made. You just know for a fact, especially fighting an American, it's going to take, best part of 4, maybe even 2 months of fucking negotiations to try and get that fight. They're going to be negotiations about TV rights, rematches and all that sort of shit. And then you've also then on top of that, probably you have to placate the fucking mandatory defences. So you probably need to enter into the talks with Povetkin, whoever the IBF mandatory is, WBA mandatories and all that sort of shit, and then try and get them to step aside. Maybe a wee payoff here and there. But it's going to be an absolute mindfuck trying to make that a fight next. I can imagine it.
The WBO, though, doesn't really force mandatories as hard. Because Povetkin became the WBO mandatory tonight, right?
Yeah, and was it WBA as well? One of the other ones.
Yeah, I know that the IBF goes up your ass with the mandatory.
Be Povetkin next, I think, in London. They'll fight next.
I don't know about that. I feel, Povetkin, the fact that he got wobbled twice, maybe even 3 times by Price tonight was, that fight was excellent to me. I enjoyed it thoroughly just because of what a farce it was.
Is he on the slide enough for them to take it now, Alex?
I don't know.
After watching that.
The fact that they said there was no drug testing, it makes me wonder if he was still on the drugs, old Sasha. But he certainly looked quite vulnerable tonight. Maybe Pricey did have a few. His dig is strong. We know that. We know he can punch, and maybe he just Povetkin underestimated him a little bit and got caught clean because he knew whatever. He thought he could bang Price out easily, but he certainly got wobbled a few times, and again, it was quite hilarious. No, I think that, without seeing those vulnerabilities against a man like Price, who is, by all accounts, completely fucking shot and timid and scared and just, mentally and, physically shot now as well, I would give Povetkin a great chance of beating Joshua after tonight, but it makes me worry about his chin. It makes me think that he might be a bit broken, and I think that they would certainly ramp up the drug testing at least for Povetkin in that fight if they made Povetkin versus Femi.
Yeah, I thought at first they were going to fight maybe Jarrell Miller in New York, but after AJ shouting afterwards, maybe not. Right, we're coming towards the end of the show. Not quite, but we usually do about an hour in these post-fight things. So if anybody wants to come on, then hit me up on Twitter pronto. We ain't going to be staying on all night. We shall get to the undercard very shortly. Just before we do, I know it's fashionable, Andy, to moan about the commentary team and all that, but you see Carl Froch.
No.
I mean, seriously, I'm not just saying this.
Abysmal.
I'm not just saying this, but he is terrible. He doesn't watch boxing. He's no interest. He comes up with generic comments because he clearly knows nothing about any of the fighters, even at the highest level. And I mean, what is this guy? I know he achieved a lot in the sport. Warrior. Don't discredit any of his ring achievements. But what is he offering on this call? He's
Shit,
terrible.
fuck all. Absolute nothing, mate. It was like the first 3 rounds, you would think that Parker was getting his head caved in or getting a punch back to New Zealand, but it wasn't exactly the case. Or he's struggling, he's no stepping into his punches and stuff. As I said, I had the fight semi-close, especially that first round. I mean, there was absolutely nothing happened apart from Parker landing a few jabs to the body. You would think just because by Femi walking him down, it was enough to win the round. It was like everything that Parker, that Joshua did and stuff. It was brilliant. It was world class. He's got great foot movement. He was rapid with a jab. He was quick hand movements and stuff. Just totally negating everything that Parker did. Okay, he did it all off the back foot, Parker. Fair enough. Guess what? You can actually win fights off the fucking back foot. And this is what I'm talking about. Just because you see a guy coming forward throwing punches doesn't mean he was landing them all. Right? 119, 110, or whatever the fucking scorecard was an absolute disgrace. But to have fucking Froch tell us early doors that Parker was looking nervous, he was looking tight, he wasn't getting the jab off and stuff, and then they say later on during the fight that he's done well. He's come here and made an effort, and I'm sitting myself, what fucking fight have you watched?
Adam Smith just coaches him though, Andy. Adam Smith looks online, sees what people are saying, gauges opinion around the ringside, and then he feeds the lines to Froch. He does it every fight.
Maybe it does, mate, but this is what I'm seeing now on the YouTube chat. I mean, listen, we've maxed out here tonight about 500 listeners live, and see the amount of casual comments I'm seeing on YouTube chat right now. I want you to go out there and cull them all and fucking ban them for this fucking chat. I don't want you to
subscribe.
I don't want them subscribing to this fucking podcast. I want true boxing fans who watch boxing, can score a fucking fight, and Andy just fucking pulled them, but all the hype and the fucking diatribe and the shit and the cliches that we get fucking fed in this fucking sport. Okay? I mean, where were all these cunts when Usyk was fighting Bredis or when Gaziev was fighting Dortico? Where are these guys? Who's watching Inoue fighting for fucking Japan on the fucking New Year's Eve on a Sunday fucking morning at 11 o'clock in the morning? Who's finding out about Ioka against Yagashi? Minimum weight unification fight for the first time in Japan in like fucking, I don't know how many decades. Where are all these cunts? No, he's only come out for the fucking Joshua fights because he's getting fucking fed this shit. He's got to be and buy all his merchandise. You tweet him about it, begging for a retweet, gagging to fucking drain his balls into your fucking mouth. Watch boxing. Didn't watch fucking Femi alone. Watch the fucking sport.
Well said, Andrew. People say what they think on here, whether you like it or not. If you don't like it, hit the dislike button, Donny. Go on, go ahead and do it. Listen to this, Donny. Donny, listen to this. Listen to this from Ben Churchard. Big AJ fan, says Ben, but seeing AJ struggling to find the range makes me think Fury would give him big problems. That's the fans saying that, Donny, not us.
Yeah, well, I think if you watch this fight tonight, I think you'd have to think that a lot of people give AJ problems. Simple as that. I was laughing. I was going to say that's Andy Patterson. He's our director of new boxing fan outreach.
Hashtag fuck the fans, Donny.
Yeah.
Fuck the casuals, man. Look at them. Absolute fucking disgrace. Sitting there with our wee pals and that with their fucking, wee bottle of Dom Perignon and that, the fucking, come into my house and watch this in fucking 4K HD TV and all that sort of shit. Yes, Joshua's won every round. I expect Joshua to knock him out and all that sort of stuff. You fucking know. You know these wee cunts that have never been in a fucking fight in their fucking life. Absolute fucking mutants.
That
Dave,
was Kurt Ward tonight.
Yeah, Kurt Ward, he's gone rogue.
Shite fight.
Dave, let's go on to the undercard briefly. Big Povetkin against David Price. As I said in the chat, Dave, the biggest Russian attack on the nervous system since Salisbury.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to bump Price down from 5 pound for pound to number 6 after that. Yeah, at least he got something done though. At least he had a go. So good for him. I thought it was going to be out over in 2 rounds max, and he would be on the floor twitching. But it took 5 for him to be on the floor twitching, which is the ending we all expected. But it was at least somewhat enjoyable till we got there. So good for him. Fuck Povetkin. I think this is a loss for him regardless. He got officially dropped, hurt, and made to look like a fat roiding shite by David Price. So your own bitch. It's only a matter of time till someone ices him.
19 dislikes, you know that at least fucking 17 of them are fucking casuals, eh?
Alex, tell me about Big Price. Say the end of the 3rd round, whenever he wobbled Povetkin, that's it, isn't it? That gives him currency. The big lad's got the big punch. He can come back.
I was absolutely howling with laughter when that happened. I thought that, they said that he was hurt in the 1st round as well, Povetkin, right at the end. That fucking Fortune and Adam
I wasn't
Smith.
so sure about that, you know.
I don't think he was. They came in their pants because he landed a punch finally. They, the whole, they were trying to run the script by and, come on, Big Pricey, and then he fucking lands one punch and they're going fucking manic over it. And Froch is saying, "Oh, I think that Povetkin's on shaky legs. I still think he's quite hurt there." But, absolute shite. And then Povetkin comes out and that knockdown was fucking beautiful. That first knockdown to put Pricey down. Was it a right hook or a left hook? I can't remember, but absolutely flattened him. And then, Price, to be fair to him, he got up, he realized he made a mistake. And he came back firing. He didn't completely shell up. I mean, most of the time he was just, complete turtle shell defense, trying to not get sparked out by the first punch that hit him. And he gave it a go for his standard, which is, that by now absolutely piss poor. And I think most of us expected him to be done in the first 3, but making it to 5, I guess, is a triumph for him. He's still got absolutely starched. A lot of us all warned that when this fight was made, we thought it was a joke. We thought, sorry, what? David Price against Alexander Povetkin? Are you fucking serious? And we thought that Price is going to get seriously hurt. And then what happens? Oh, he gets absolutely fucking sparked clean out. He's getting the oxygen mask on, all the medics in, and there's already tons of memes on Twitter about him being absolutely laid out, fucking bleeding from the mouth, cut over his eye, and looking a disgrace. And all it does is validate the fucking drug cheats, because all you've done there is, Price says, "Oh, I hate drug cheats. I've been done in by them." You chose to fight one tonight, mate, and you got your fucking ass kicked, and you got spark clean out. Well done, mate. You fucking twat.
Go on,
Big
Dave.
payday and big exposure. Big payday and big exposure for Povetkin, who
Exactly.
I can't think of anybody who is least or less deserving in this sport at the moment. I mean, and now they're going to give him a title shot after that. The guy,
A highlight reel knockout they gave him to make the Femi fight much more interesting. That's what they gave the horrible drugs cheat Alexander Povetkin that everyone wants banned. They gave him a fucking big payday and an even bigger payday when he fights Femi in the mandatory.
And you know what, too? I mean, you're absolutely right, Alex. And what convinces me even more of that is the fact that there was no drug testing, because that means that Eddie Hearn did not want to see that fight get scuttled, right? Because he wanted to make sure that Povetkin got a highlight reel knockout so that they can make that fight, right? Because, if you do drug testing for the fight, there's a decent chance, at least probably a coin flip, that Povetkin will, that will pop for something. So they had no interest in seeing that fight not come off. They wanted to make sure it came off, and that's why they didn't do the drug testing.
Yeah,
and
UCAD are useless. UCAD don't give a fucking shit.
They had zero regard for Price's health. They didn't care that if he got messed up.
Eddie Hearn especially had zero regard for Price's health. He made this fight specifically because he knew Povetkin would get a fucking highlight reel knockout, and he did. He got exactly what he wanted. He's made Povetkin a fucking beast, which he is anyway, and he's even better. For the little smug little cunt, he's shown that Povetkin is also vulnerable, which means he can take this fight easily enough, I think, for Femi, and all the casuals will love it. They'll think that, Joshua's God again, and he's going to spark this guy up because, David Price managed to wobble him a little bit. And it's beautiful. This is easy money for Eddie Hearn. But I'm worried about Femi because of how one-dimensional he seems. I thought that he would do much better tonight because of the weight that he dropped. I thought that he would he's learned it from his mistakes against Vlad and Takam. I thought that he would have less stamina shoes and he would throw more, but he didn't. And it's just very, very basic. And I think Povetkin is a very talented boxer who could exploit that if his chin isn't completely fucking done.
Yeah, there's a lot of comparisons. I know we've made them before, but I do see comparisons between Anthony Joshua and Frank Bruno. It's there for all to see, in the way they set themselves up. Hey to Dave, Danny Young's been on the call, on the Twitter rather. He said, can you ask any of the Americans, I'm going to class you as an American tonight, on the pod, why there was no coverage in Vegas whatsoever, Dave? Why are Vegas not interested in this heavyweight extravaganza?
As far as I can tell, good for Vegas, because they just missed a mostly shit fest. And they missed getting their froth up over clearly corrupt. All right, I shouldn't say clearly corrupt or completely inept referee and terrible judging. So why would you want to be pissed off?
What do they mean by coverage?
There was zero coverage. There was no advertising in regards to this fight in Vegas whatsoever, in the hotels, casinos, wherever you want to fucking
No
have
access to it either, Andy. It wasn't on any tellies or
There was
anything.
none of
It was on Showtime.
I think he means like in the bars and stuff.
Maybe Heyman pulled some strings there. I mean, I don't know any, obviously, but Heyman is obviously trying to get the leverage on Hearn right now. He wants this fight in the U.S. He doesn't want to send Wilder over to the U.K. And to be fair, Wilder has traveled where AJ hasn't. Wilder has been.
He was going to go to Russia to fight Povetkin, wasn't he?
Yeah, Wilder's willing to travel. He
came over here to fight the absolute beast, Audley Harrison.
Yep.
Yeah. I think that ultimately Wilder probably will end up going over there. It makes sense to me. I don't really care where they have it, but this could be some sort of bargaining leverage by Al Heyman.
Ozzy, wider point on David Price. I know you possibly didn't see the fight because you're at a different show, but just brief wider point on Price. Is this the end for him? He shook his head as he went over to congratulate Povetkin. You keep thinking it's the end, but like I said, big lump who can punch. You can see him being wheelbarrowed out again, maybe?
He should retire. Whether he chooses to do that is another question. He's a British level guy at best. I mean, for me, the fight should never have been made.
It's Rob's dog.
That's my fucking dog, piece of shit. One sec.
Put it in the bollocks.
No, I can't do that.
How not?
I'll have Gallagher coming round trying to.
But suck on them. Make them better.
Yeah.
Gallagher already took its bollocks and has them in a jar somewhere.
David Price, he should retire. It's simple as. This fight should never have been sanctioned for me. It was potentially a death trap, and that hook that finished him off. I saw the stoppage. Some British Boxing Board of Control official was ringside at the Guildhall in Preston streaming it, so props to him. And I thought the fight could have been stopped. I thought the fight could have been stopped just before the big hook, because Price looked done on his. Absolutely done, and he was just there, just a big lump to hit. Good old Howard there watched him, and same old again. Pricey on the deck. What's the point? He's won a British title already. He's not going to make the money, to go and box for the next 5-6 years because he doesn't have the confidence and things like that. He's absolutely shot to bits. And I saw somebody mention before, and Alex made a good point. Oh, isn't it a shame David Price has just lost to drug cheats? He chose to fight Povetkin. He said in an interview about 6 months ago, yeah, I'm going to go and get the rounds after, I think he bought Sokolowski or something like that in London. Going to go and get the rounds, box other people, come back at British level, work my way up. First sign of a paycheck, and he's there in with a drugs cheat. And then doesn't do drug testing.
Yeah, he can't complain. He can't complain about drug cheating.
Not one bit. And all these people saying, "Oh yeah, a truly tremendous effort by David Price." I saw somebody saying he should get paid double for the effort he put in tonight. Why? Why? Why should he get paid double? He chose to fight a drug test, and so what? Because he put up a valiant effort, so he should really. But what did people expect him to just go in there and just roll over and take his paycheck? If he wants to go and box people of that caliber, go in and throw a shot. And he showed that he did have the power to hurt him at times. I saw it was. I've not seen the shot which completely. I've only saw it once, so I don't mind watching it. I'll watch.
He didn't see it either.
But it was thingy. It was the one that wobbled Povetkin. It was a decent shot, and he clearly does have power. But I can't buy this. Yeah, Pricey's got a punch. Well, Christian Hammer got up off the floor and beat him. Tony Thompson got up off the floor and beat him. So maybe his power isn't as elite as people like to say. I mean,
His jab's not great, is it, Ozzy, as well? He pours it out too much, I think.
Yeah, he's just not there. I think Tony Thompson, the second one, when he got up, I think that he just thought, fucking hell, what do I do now? Because he always used to be, oh yeah, David's got the right hand. Yeah, but when somebody stood up to the right hand, they had no idea. I mean, when he was in with Hammer, and he was just this huge slob leaning over the ropes, you just think, fuck me. I mean, he came back, he got himself in better shape, but it was the same old result. Price laid out on the floor, and I think for his own health, he should call it quits.
Andy, just before we bring Smido in, because he's jumped on the call, I mentioned Froch earlier, but I thought he was brilliant through the Burnett fight, especially in the first round when he said, well, what do you think about Ryan Burnett? And Froch was like, well, he's the WBA super champion, and that's a good title, and he's unbeaten, so he has the confidence of an unbeaten fighter, and he's young as well, and he looks the part. It was classic, like, it was brilliant generic commentary.
You had mere cliches than fucking Joshua the other night after that post-fight press conference. I mean, Burnett is a good fighter, okay, but he's no boxer. Like I get a fuck if he's box office or not, mate. I want to see a fighter who is exciting to watch. Burnett, to me, is that kind of flatter deceive? Is that kind of too strong a word to say to me?
Do you think he boxes within himself, and maybe someone like a Tete would bring it out of him?
I think so. I think he needs a fear factor type fight, but. Okay, maybe he claimed he thinks he maybe broke his hand during the fight, and was it the fourth round? I think he said maybe that's something to do with a good feints, a good jab, and sort of stuff. That's all you need to do. He did what to do to win. That's what it's all about. You win at the end of the day. But I need to see more. I need a bit more excitement and stuff. Again, that's why I hated Floyd, for example. I hated Floyd because he would always be that kind of safety first, one punch at a time and stuff. Burnett, I kind of get that same kind of impression, mate. He's just doesn't do enough for me. I think he doesn't need the fear factor. They're talking about the bantamweight division now coming up for the boxing, the World Boxing Super Series. But we've heard word obviously going about that if Tete is in the fight, then Hearn's going to pull his fighters out that division, which sounds absolute bullshit to me. But I wouldn't put anything past Hearn just to fuck Warren over, but we'll wait and see how that's going to transpire. But I think we need to see, Burnett and Zakhanov was decent. This guy fought tonight. He was okay, but he
lost to Zakhanov, hadn't he? Pereira?
Exactly. But I want to see him in my top fighter. I mean, put it this way: they ducked Tete twice, right? They've been offered the fight at least twice, if I can recall. And the other night they mentioned Inoue, but you didn't fight Tete. So what the fuck, man? I mean, are you being serious? Inoue hasn't even fucking fought bantamweight yet. He's not even world champion yet. So do you want to fucking, do you want to fight Inoue or do you want to fight Tete? And then you got Adam Booth coming out saying that Tete still to prove himself. Tommy again, he's at the troll. He's saying that Burnett's a great wee fighter. He's fighting these opponents. He's unified the title and stuff. Tete's never fought anybody. They're just going to fight Tete.
I would pick Burnett to beat Tete. I mean, it'd be a good fight, it'd be a close fight and a quality fight, but I think Burnett could pull that out the bag. I don't see, I can understand.
It's not against him, it's a possibility, mate. I mean, he boxes well at times and stuff, but the thing is this,
he's tough too. He's tough.
Yeah, it's tough. The kid's got the problem with the brain issue. He's had to fight through that. His dad's been to the nth degree to make sure that he's fully fit. And, what the doctors were basically saying that it was a load of shite. So I don't know if it's a protection job with him. Maybe they're kind of concerned with that thing in the past. I'm not too sure, but
I think it's the risk against reward with Tete, isn't it? I think, Andy, that's what it is. Why take a fight like that when you can go the path of lesser resistance?
True, but then Warren's paying the money. So if Warren's going to pay Tete's money, that means Hearn can pay Burnett extra to take the fight. And on pay-per-view, you can put him on a Femi undercard again, and pay him good money.
Right, Smido, let's get you in. Smido, we've been slagging off Carl Froch, your mate, quite a while on this pod tonight. But to be fair to Froch, his score was in line with the judges' scorecards. So maybe we're the fools, Smido. Maybe we're the fools.
No, we're not the fools. I think you guys, not me, because I'm a shit scorer, but you guys, I think over time have proven that your opinion matches the masses rather than that of the judges and paid up company men like Carl Froch or Eddie Hearn. I just thought generally the fight wasn't all that exciting. I mean, how many right hands did AJ land in the fight, or how many right hands did anyone land in the fight?
It was the left hook, wasn't it, for AJ that was working? I thought, especially off the referee's clinches.
Yeah, it was the left hook that came into play. Joshua also, Parker's best punch generally probably was the left hook. I know Joshua worked the body quite early with the right hand, but I just don't think it didn't really catch fire, did it? That's obvious to say. I don't bother scoring fights nowadays, but the 119 I think seems a bit wide to me. I just thought, people are going to say that Joshua, it's another box ticked, he's gone the distance, and it was disciplined performance, got the job done, won the belt, blah blah blah. But really, I just don't think he landed a lot of shots throughout. And the one thing he did do was control the action. I thought, particularly in the first half of the fight, I thought that Joshua was, looked visually.
The ref
like
controlled the fucking action, mate.
Well, not very well. And nice to have you back, Al. But the ref didn't control it very well, did he? To be fair, when he came on, I said to the lads, I've never heard of him. I think he'd only done 9 world title fights, something like that. But
4.
I just think 4.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. I think the one positive with Joshua is that because he's had so few fights, amateur and pro, and he has progressed pretty quickly, whether we like to admit it or not, but he has. We can see the development and how he's coming on from fight to fight, and I think especially for these casuals that they've managed to get on board, I think that's quite a good thing. We've been able to see him, improve on defence and improve his footwork along the way. I think his jab's improved. Pretty much everything's improved because it had to. So I think that's kind of different what you get with Joshua that you don't kind of get with anyone else. I know he was a top amateur given his Olympic gold medal, but people like Burnett, for example, were already much more developed than Joshua was when he turned pro in comparison to the likes of Joshua. There'll be other examples as well. So I think that it didn't really catch fire. The undercard was shite. We said this last week, though. Like, Ryan Burnett might be very good, right? But I'm sat there tonight with 3 lads who work in the sporting industry and are on the Joshua bandwagon, don't get me wrong. But they've never heard really of Ryan Burnett, and they certainly haven't heard of the fella he's fighting. And then the lack of KOs that a fighter like that brings to the event is not good. We all know what the score is with Pricey. I wish David Price could fight every week. I don't think I've ever made more money off a single boxer in my whole career. Honestly. Every time he steps up, I make money. It's as simple as that. It's great. So yeah, I mean, after 4 rounds there, when they was both blowing, and I think they've both received a count by the end of the 4th, you could get 5 to 6, which is nearly even money for it to be 8 rounds or less. So I had 4 rounds in my bank. I didn't care who won, and I had a few quid on, and it was over in the 5th. Brilliant.
Did you see the Sky Sports website try and give their predictions on Povetkin Price? Not one person, not one would dare give their prediction. Actually, clear cut, not one person.
It's a shame. Like, I just got the feeling, especially for the main event, we was missing someone. We was missing a Deontay Wilder, to be fair. I know Paul Malignaggi's feel that's well. No, I know. I don't want to get into.
I want to get into it. You want to get into it? I will get into it with you.
Right, all right, let me make my point first.
Okay.
In terms of the team commentating on the main event, I think we was missing someone, and I think that someone would be a neutral, i.e. Malignaggi's done the job well.
Yeah.
Ian Dark. That's what we needed.
Now, Dark ain't coming back though, is he? Malignaggi,
No.
I agree, but he was doing Showtime though to me.
There was a Showtime feed of it. I would recommend watching because they did a good job. They also shat all over the referee, and I thankfully did not watch the Sky card because I heard it was abysmal.
Okay, carry on, Smith.
I've made my point clear. I think Wilder should have been there tonight. I think he's missed out a little bit. I'm not like dead against it, calling him a prick or anything like that, but I just think he's missed out, to be honest.
Can Steve, I just finish off with that point there, what Smiddle was saying there, right? No, the reason why I was in total agreement with Wilder no coming is because I had a sneaky suspicion what was going to happen. I knew Turnip Head was going to fucking come up there and that the absolute cunt, right? And what happened Wilder never turned up, so Eddie Hearn turns pure, utter liar mode, which he's used to doing and stuff, right? He heard me right. He doesn't want to fight, apparently, right? Wilder will fight anybody for the fucking money. But let's get something fucking absolutely clear here. We saw what happened. We saw what happened with Povetkin. Now, if Wilder had been there, it'd have been 10 times worse. Povetkin's sitting there after a fight, and what happens? Dillian White turns up. I want the fight, baby. And what's Eddie Hearn doing? He's repeating exactly what White said last week after he beat Brown. You know, what was it? I forget the words he used again exactly and stuff. I'm saying to myself, holy fuck. No wonder Wilder was banging the money note to turn up there because he knew what he was going to be getting. He's going to get that turn-up head motherfucker in his face screaming, I want you next, I want you next. So never mind Povetkin, who's meant to be the mandatory challenger for WBA and WBO titles. Apparently, every cunt seems to think that the road to AJ goes through fucking Dillian White. And what the fuck's Dillian White done in his heavyweight career to fucking afford a fucking shot at Femi, who's the unified champion? Absolute fucking doggo. Last week was his best fucking win of his career. And now apparently it's like the time. Remember when fucking Floyd Mayweather got schooled off Errol Spence in fucking training or in sparring, and he turns to Amir Khan and says, "If you want to fight me, fight Errol Spence first." That's a kind of similar fucking type of situation we're getting here. If you want to fight Anthony Joshua, you got to fight Dillian White first to prove himself. Fuck off.
I tell you what though, Dillian.
Let's Smido. Go ahead, Smid.
Deontay Wilder, a lot of people are talking about him, and I think to be fair. Coogan's pulled it out of the bag yesterday or last night, whenever it was, because he's done an interview with Wilder there. I think they pulled off a good one there. But yeah, people are talking about Wilder, and you can guarantee Sky will have his next fight, and a lot of people, whoever it's against, will be tuning in. I just think on Dillian White, last week we was talking about heavyweight title, now we're talking about final eliminator against Povetkin. I mean, it's just all. I do agree with Andy, a little bit. It's all just a merry-go-round that obviously we're only getting one side of the story. Well, mainly this week we've only got one side of the story, i.e. Eddie saying that Wilder's bottled it.
Well, the thing is, the only thing that Dillian White did was that he's in a fortunate position in the sense that he's a heavyweight. He's from the UK. He fights either a week before Joshua or he fights on his undercards. He is semi-exciting, and they, he once wobbled Joshua for about 5 seconds or whatever, and that's his claim to fame. And so, Eddie Hearn is using him as like the gatekeeper to Joshua because it allows Hearn to line his pockets twice. So when you fight White, Eddie gets paid, and then when you get through White, then you can fight AJ and Eddie gets paid again. Right. I mean, there's no rational reason why anybody should have to go through Dillian White to get to Anthony Joshua except to line Eddie Hearn's pockets. There's no rhyme or reason to it except for the economic reason to benefit Ashram.
Well, fucking Wilder's made his offer. I'll fight Dillian White next if you guarantee me 100% that I get the Joshua fight next. Apparently, they're all in agreement with this. Apparently, Femi agreed with it. Apparently, Hearn agreed with it. Let's just see if it comes down to reality, by the way. It's not going to get made. It's not going to get made next. It's not going to happen this year whatsoever. You know why? Because, A, I've got a couple of reasons. I don't know if Femi can get into America yet because he's drug conviction, right? So,
has he not been over visiting or something?
Well, I don't know, mate, but if he can if he can get over to America, and then I can guarantee what's going to happen. They're going to fight an American opponent, Jarrell Miller, right? They're going to see how the pay-per-view numbers are going to go at 4 o'clock in the morning, right? And then they're going to make their move after that. But as I say, we need to find out if we can get a visa for America. We know Donald Trump, what he's like with certain individuals and stuff. If you've got a criminal conviction, it could fuck you right off. I really don't know. But the way they're going to be working this, it's going to be either White, Miller by the end of the year, and then sometime late next year. But at the end of everybody knows, see if Femi wanted to fight Wilder, he would fight him next. Because you know why? Femi dictates to Hearn, right? Hearn knows Femi's his golden goose. If he decides he's leaving, Hearn's fucked. Because he needs to deliver a certain amount of pay-per-views per year. And the casuals can dislike this fucking video all the fucking like. I'm talking facts, right? He's got to deliver between 5 and 6 pay-per-views per year. He needs Femi, he needs Brook and Khan, and he needs Bellew against Hay to deliver it for this year. So he's going to try and ring out a few more pay-per-views out of Femi before he gets the big fight with Wilder going on. As I says, we're going to run the fucking risk over marinating it. Wilder could break his hand, he could be out for a year. Femi could run the risk of getting knocked out. It's heavyweight boxing at the end of the day. You want to fuck about with a total unification fight? Go ahead. But see when it comes crashing down, don't expect anybody to fucking feel sorry for you.
Smido, respond, but first of all, tell me quickly, Bell, you at ringside, someone should have took a microphone off him. I could hear him screaming all the way through the fight, couldn't you?
Well, only a couple of rounds. It didn't last long, but I wasn't intently listening. I mean, the commentary, as I've mentioned, I just thought I was missing at least one person from the commentary. I kind of alluded to it last week on the podcast. I give the chance of the Wilder fight happening soonish more chance than a lot of you guys. I could probably be proven wrong there, but I think we've got to say he's developed quite quickly. He's obviously the pay-per-view star. He's already fought in what they classed the Klitschko fight as unification. I didn't agree with it, and obviously he's fought Parker as well. We can say what we want about the opponents and what stage of their career they was at, but he is collecting the belts. And someone like Terence Crawford fought Julius Ndongo, for example. So he's collecting the belts rather than So he's going out there, he's getting the belts, and I do give the Wilder fight a chance of happening. Because it's got people talking, but I think in reality we're more likely to get Povetkin or Dillian Whyte.
Can I say something, right? There's a fucking absolute fiend on YouTube, right, saying a fight in America would generate more money. A US pay-per-view, $70, UK pay-per-view, 20 quid. Fighters get a pay-per-view cut. Let's just fucking bear in mind here, by the way, use fucking absolute dickheads who feast on the fucking money these cunts make. They didn't put money in your pocket, but let me tell you something. This is a wee reminder. Remember something. Eddie Hearn told you tonight that fucking Wilder can't sell 8,000 tickets in his hometown. He isn't box office, he isn't pay-per-view. Yet there's Femi's fucking fight tonight isn't even shown in Vegas, for fuck's sake. Wake the fuck up.
Wake up, says Andy. We'll be waking up soon. Let's get to bed. Let's get to bed, shall we? If all else fails, go to Wales. Isn't that what they say, Smido, in the old film Twin Town? Right, we're gonna wrap up now. We're gonna wrap up, guys. I want one positive and one negative from each of you, right? From the whole night. It doesn't have to be the main event. One positive and one negative. I'm gonna go to you first, Smido.
Oh, God.
Well, actually, before we go to you, let me throw mine in. First of all, the negative, obviously on here. The commentary, I know I've mentioned it, but I'm telling you, Froch has to be right up there with one of the worst analysers or worst people to pick up a mic. And I've watched a lot of boxing over the years. I've ever heard. He is truly, truly awful. And the positive, AJ, he's got another belt. His stamina didn't blow up as bad as I thought it was going to be. I don't think he was as tired as I've seen him in the past. He got through the 12 rounds. He did the job. And the bandwagon marches on, Smido. One positive, one negative on the night from you, please.
Oh, God. It's not too dissimilar to yours, Steve, to be honest. The positive, I think the positive, just generally we are seeing AJ develop in front of our eyes, and like I say, that is a good thing of the AJ story. That is capturing the imagination of a lot of people up and down the country. So that's maybe the positive. I think the negative was just the main event in general. It never really caught fire. I wanted to see a bit more from AJ, trying to get. I just wondered. I got to around the 10th round, and I'm thinking, he's got 100% knockout, at the moment. Is he going to want to continue that? But he never really showed that he wanted to. I think it was in reflection and in hindsight, it's clear that was the game plan. Really, he's coming a little bit lighter, and he kind of knew Parker was going to do the same, and they've kind of negated that pretty well, and they shut each other down really. But like you say, the negative has got to be the fight in general, and the commentary was shit.
Thank you, Adam. At Smido11 on Twitter. You'll want a bit of that. Dave, the hater low back. One positive, one negative from the whole night. Hit me.
Well, there's so many negatives. I'm just going to go with the officiation. It's freaking horrible. Also, the fight was shit. And for positive, I'm going to just say AJ was made to look like a bum. At least it looked promising to where he could be.
Have you spun a negative into a positive there, Dave?
That's a positive for me because I want this so-called superior.
That's cheating. That's cheating.
No, it's a positive because, well, you said. I mean, the way you said it made you sound like you're on Team Matchroom there. It's like, oh look, AJ's got his stamina up. He might.
I just say what I see, Dave. I just say what I see.
For me, a negative for Anthony Joshua is a positive for me because I want the superior one to get battered in submission by Wilder or schooled, completely dominated by Tyson Fury.
Okay, thank you. Donnie, what about you? One from each, please.
I'm with Dave. I kind of reject the premise of this question. you're trying to force me to say something positive when there really isn't quite a whole lot of positive.
I'm not forcing you to say anything, Donny.
Well, that's okay, because I'm also going to turn on it as well. But what I was going to say is the negative is that the fight was absolutely effing horrible. And the positive is actually both Anthony Joshua's mom and, Joseph Parker's mom. They were actually able to watch this fight very comfortably because nobody got punched hard in the face. And, they just, it was very easy for them to watch because there was no action. So I'm sure they'll both be able to sleep very easily tonight, knowing that nobody got marked up.
Donny, I thought you were going to say
Ladies'
the
health.
positive was at the end whenever Joshua started saying, we've brought people together. His Woodstock speech.
The British Medical Association just absolutely loved this fight.
What were you going to say, Dave?
I was just saying, think of the poor old lady's health. Now we know we can rest in peace tonight, knowing that their hearts are at ease.
Andy, bring us back some sanity. These cheating American bastards are twisting my questions on me. Come on, one positive, one negative.
Right, one negative. Obviously, the commentary team would be a given, but I'll go for the referee. I've just seen a tweet there by Joseph Parker's team saying that when the referee came into the dressing room, we found out he couldn't speak any English. And apparently his trainer made a immediate complaint about it.
We mentioned this last week again. I mentioned this last week about being able to speak the language.
Yeah, you did mention that. I know you mentioned it, actually. I just let the fighters fight, especially on the inside. I mean, you saw it when it came inside. You could see Femi trying to throw the right uppercut, and he had some success with it. And that's where I was expecting Parker to try and maybe get his best success as well with the body shots, and then maybe try and spin off to the side. I just thought, just let the guys fucking fight. It was just, okay, Femi would get him in the headlock. I thought he was going to maybe do a Jake Roberts and DDT him or some fucking shit, but just let the guys fight. That's what they're there for, I mean, I can remember going, I'm going back to reading books and some historical stuff, but I remember Fraser's team kicking up fuck with the commissions and that when they fought Ali the third time and stuff because they weren't happy with the American refs who would have allowed Ali to hold Fraser. Because obviously, if Ali was allowed to hold, Fraser's inside work was fucked. Positive, the AJ train fucking rolls on, I suppose, isn't it? He's a one-man machine, money-wise. He keeps the economy afloat at certain places. He gets the hotel prices booked up 50% off their mark. He's StubHub's fucking king. So I suppose if anything, financially wise, it's got to be, that's going to be the only positive I can think of. I mean, the fight was shit. It was really kind of lacking in real serious action. Slightly disappointed that Parker really, as I say, is kind of late going into the fight, that he wouldn't have really kind of stepped it in and just go for broke. So I'll go for negative, the referee, positive, the Femi train keeps rolling, and so does the cash.
Yeah, Andy mentioned the referee, as we all have done, and it reminded me of I think it was the second Bo Holyfield fight towards the end of one of the rounds. They were still punching after the bell had gone. The ref was jumping in, the corners were jumping in, trying to split them up, and Larry Merchant just shouted out, "Hey, these guys want to fight!" And then I just thought to myself, well, they could have done with a bit of that tonight. Rob Kelly's on the call. Before we come to you, Rob, Aussie, one positive, one negative from the evening, please.
Negative has to be the officials, referee and 3 judges. Arseholes destroyed everything. And a positive is, as much as it may not happen next, we're one step closer to a fight where all the belts will be on the line.
Well said, Aussie. Good to have you on. Finally, last but by no means least, he's jumping on with us, exactly. It's getting a bit late, Rob. I can't put my sentences together. From Miami, Rob, we're going one positive, one negative from the evening. You might not have seen as much. I don't know how much you've seen. Tell me, in fact, how much have you seen from tonight?
I saw like 9 rounds. Can you hear me?
Just about. You sound like you're down in a hole or something, Rob.
Well, I'm in Miami Beach. You know what I mean?
That's better. Go on, shout.
Yeah, no. I saw like 9 rounds of it. Like, I was a bit disappointed with the fight. I have to say, I was watching on the Showtime feed in an Irish bar, and Al Bernstein called it after 7 rounds, and he was like, "This is just a flat performance from Joshua." Not really, though. I'd say, like, it's just he did the same thing he always does, wasn't it? He just stayed behind the jab, looked for the uppercut. Parker was making a miss. I think Parker's game plan was probably drag him into deep waters, but they never tried to capitalize on that. Referee stunk. Just a horrible fight, like horrible fight. But I would have expected AJ to knock him out. at some stage. Really, if he's anything, I would have expected him to knock him out, and he didn't. So I think he's there for the taking. I've been saying it for a while. Tonight wasn't as bad as performance as the Takam fight, but it wasn't exactly brilliant from him either. The scorecards were outrageous from what I saw. So but that's to be expected, isn't it? He's the homer. He's more than the homer. Like Parker would have got a good payday. Not much else he can take out from that. He probably won't be world champion again, I'd say.
That's what I was going to say, Rob. I mean, we can slag AJ, I suppose, and we have done rightly so. But if he's there for the taking, then how come Parker wasn't able to take him?
Yeah, but he's there from the taking with somebody his own size and somebody who, like, I think Wilder has a great chance against him. I think the heavyweights are not that great at the moment, dude. You know what I mean? They're just not like Big Baby Miller's in the shake-up. So that's
You're frigging right, man.
You know what I mean? If Big Baby Miller's in the shake-up for world title shot, that tells you where the heavyweight division is at the moment. Where does he go from here? Like, is he going to fight Povetkin next as a mandatory? Doubt it. Poor El Pricey, by the way. Just a quick note for poor El Pricey. He gave it a go, didn't he? I don't know where he goes next. I think they're probably going to do voluntary with Miller in the US and then look to make the Wilder fight. I think they're going to try and make Wilder and White, aren't they? They're lobbying for that one heavy. So that's if Eddie has his way, that's the way it pans out. I want to see the Wilder fight next, but you know what I mean? I don't believe in miracles either, so I can't see that one next. What do you think?
Well, we're thinking, because he doesn't want to fight in America, so he says, maybe Jarrell Miller won't be next, but it could be Povetkin, I think. I was thinking they might bring Pulev back in, but as I mentioned earlier, I think Pulev and Brazil are fighting in an IBF eliminator. So if Brazil wins that, surely they wouldn't bring Brazil back into the frame again, would they? And say, oh, well, he's the mandatory. That they're so cynical.
This is Eddie.
Oh, no,
please,
they couldn't. No.
They will. If they're going to give Dillian White, Anthony Joshua, they'll give Dominic Brazil, Anthony Joshua.
I wouldn't mind seeing Brazil against White, actually, Andy, to be honest with you.
Well, I like that. I'd see that one. I mean, there's 0 point in seeing Femi in many rematches at the minute. Wilder is the fucking fight to be made next. White can fight Povetkin, he can fight Brazil, he can fight Big Baby Miller, he can fight any other heavyweight contender that he wants. He doesn't fight Joshua, and he doesn't fight Wilder. They two must fight next. I don't give a fuck about anything else.
Final comments from you, Rob, and then we shall close for the evening.
Yeah, no, I've just been having a great time in Miami, man. I couldn't care less about this fight, to be honest with you. I watched it for the pod, for the listeners. I've got no dog back in the background this week either, so thankful for small mercies. I'll catch up with you again next week.
Excellent. Thank you, Rob, for coming on and taking time out of your day to join us. That's Rob Kelly, everybody, at Rob H. Kelly on Twitter. We've also had Ozzy on the call. Thanks for coming. He went to a show tonight and he came back in force on the pod. Andy Patterson's been on rare form. Donny Baseball, Dave the Hater Low back. Good to hear Alex Morris back as well after a long, long hiatus. And Adam Smith as well was getting stuck in. We shall be discussing this fight tomorrow evening again, mainly with the people who come on who haven't been on tonight. Usually, whenever we do a post-fight pod, we cut most of the action on the Sunday evening because we don't want to reiterate the points. Everyone will have a chance to have their say, but we do want to keep it fresh. We should be having a guest as well, Andy. You'll be on tomorrow night, won't you?
I might be around, mate, just to see how many of these casuals will be actually listening to the live pod. I mean, 400 live listeners just now, up to 550. You can just guarantee we'll be doing our usual 150 again tomorrow. All these casuals will be missing as usual. They'll be away watching fucking, Say Yes to the Dress and watching, Power Rangers or some fucking shite,
If you hate us, if you hate what you've heard tonight, go and hit the dislike button. Let's see if we can get more dislikes than likes, eh? Go and hit the dislike button.
53 versus 38 so far. You can just know the 38 fucking casuals are fucking raging. You know fuck all about boxing. Just don't darken your doors ever again, you fucking cunts. Fuck off.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for listening, everybody. Go fuck yourselves, as Andy says. The regulars will be back tomorrow night. And thanks to you, Donny. I always like hearing from you. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Steve. I appreciate it.
We've had fun tonight, haven't we? It's been a good one, I think. I've enjoyed this one. I better press stop then. Thanks for listening. Speak to you all tomorrow night, 8 p.m. UK time, everybody. Bye.
David Price.